This video is not made for kids, it's for older fans and adults, so fuck off and enjoy the video.
Frosty Edward. Snow had fallen across the island of Sodor, and everyone was working hard to keep themselves warm with their fireboxes. One morning, the factory father came to see Edward and Philip at their sheds with some jobs for them.
Good morning, you two. It's really chilly today.
The ice-cold weather doesn't bother me, sir. My firebox is keeping me toasty warm like it always does.
Good for you, Edward. I wish I had something to keep me warm every winter.
Not to worry, Philip. The warmth of my firebox should make you cozy, to say the least.
Edward, you've got your local passenger run to do today, and Philip, you must head to Knapford and do your shunting before the snowstorm sweeps in tonight.
A snowstorm? Oh dear, I don't like the sound of that.
It's okay, Philip. As soon as we finish our jobs for the day, we'll be heading straight back to our sheds before anything disastrous happens.
Edward collected his coaches and puffed along his branch line to Brendan. The Fat Controller was right. The weather was very chilly, but Edward didn't mind the cold. He had a nice warm firebox that was keeping him toasty. Edward's first stop was Lower Sudbury, where he saw BoCo dropping off some goods.
Morning, Edward. Oh, you look happy today.
I sure am, BoCo. In this cold weather, my firebox keeps me toasty warm.
Oh, that's good. I wish I had something to keep me warm in this blizzard.
Don't worry, BoCo. I'm sure the station master in Lower Sudbury has something for you.
Good idea, Edward. That would be lovely.
Edward's next stop was Upper Brendan, where he saw Elizabeth dropping off some puddings.
Hello there, Edward. What are you still doing out here in this blizzard?
I'm just doing my local passenger run as usual, and I see you're delivering puddings, Elizabeth.
I most certainly am. Ever since I had that accident in the snowdrift, I've been learning how to drive a lot more carefully in the snow.
Just then, Trevor the traction engine chugged into view.
Hello everyone, just letting you know that there will be a massive snowstorm tonight.
Thanks for the warning, Trevor. You should get back to your shed before it starts snowing heavily.
Don't worry, Edward, I'll be making my way back just as soon as I can.
When Edward arrived at Brendan Docks, he saw the engines from the clay pits helping Porter and Salty with their shunting.
Good work, you two.
We're so glad that we're getting more assistance with our buffers.
Hello, everyone. I can see the twins are behaving themselves.
I'm keeping Bill and Ben in order whilst we're helping out at the docks.
The clay pits are completely snowed in, so we decided to come here and help Porter and Salty if they're actually shunting instead.
Wait, where's Marion? Wasn't she meant to be with you guys?
She's already gone off to play in the snow and she's using her shovel to dig up some snow that's blocking the track.
Isn't snow magical, Derek? I'm so glad I'm doing something useful while the clay pits are being snowed in.
I know that, Marion, but can you please get me out of this snow instead of just playing around with it?
Whoops! Oh, sorry, Derek. I'll get back to digging that snow off you. It won't take a moment.
Right. Well, I'm sure Marion is just helping someone rather than playing in the snow.
Just then, the dock manager arrived with an urgent job for Edward.
Edward, you're needed to transport coal across the island to the station waiting rooms before the blizzard comes.
Oh dear, that sounds terrible. I hope the passengers will be alright once they get their coal for their fireplaces.
You better hurry, Edward. I hear that this snowstorm is so dreadful that no one's able to come out of their sheds once it's over.
Yeah. Unless the snow removal engine arrives and helps clear it all away.
Right. I better go back to my station to tell the station master about the news.
Good luck, Edward. We're all counting on you.
I bet he's going to freeze up if he doesn't deliver all the coal, Ben. Quite right, Bill. That's just pathetic.
Quit chatting, you two. There's still a lot of work to do before this blizzard arrives.
And we better get it all done quickly. Come on!
At Knapford, Thomas was helping Philip with his shunting. Philip didn't stop worrying about the blizzard.
What's the matter, Philip?
I heard there's a huge blizzard coming tonight, and I hope Edward stays with me in the shed before it comes.
It's okay, Philip. Every engine on this island will stay right in their sheds until the storm leaves tomorrow morning.
Could you perhaps take over my shunting while I go back to my sheds? I need to prepare before the snowstorm arrives.
Prepare what, Philip?
But Philip didn't hear Thomas. He had already left the station yards to go back to his shed in Wellsworth. As Philip returned, he saw Edward arrive at the same time to tell the station master about the urgent coal delivery.
Sir, there's a huge snowstorm coming to the island tonight, and I have to go to the coaling plant to make an urgent delivery before it comes.
I understand that, Edward, but do be extra careful if you're going out in this icy weather.
Not to worry, my sandbox is all refilled and I'm good to go.
What? Don't go now, Edward! You're supposed to stay with me in the sheds and keep me warm with your firebox!
I'm sorry, Philip, but this is an urgent job that needs to be done right away.
But will you promise me you'll get home before the snowstorm comes?
A promise is a promise, Philip. I'll see you later tonight at the sheds.
Bye, Edward. Good luck.
With his snowplow attached, Edward was making his way to the coaling plant. The weather started to get colder, and it looks like the blizzard was about to come early.
I must get to the coaling plant and start my urgent delivery.
By the time Edward arrived at the coaling plant, Sonny had already shunted his coal trucks ready for delivery. And even heavy Hector was part of the train.
Okay, Edward. Your coal train is all ready for the urgent delivery.
Thanks, Sonny. I better hurry, or else the passengers of the station waiting rooms will freeze up.
It looks like the snowstorm is already on its way in, so do be careful when you're going out in the snow.
Don't worry, Hector. I've got my snowplow on, and I'll be clearing those tracks while I'm speeding along the line.
Soon, Edward was out in the cold white snow with his urgent delivery. The coal trucks rattled and rocked behind him, and Hector was making sure that all of the coal was delivered to every station on the island.
Do you know which stations to stop at, Edward?
Of course I do, Hector. It's not just my branch line I have to worry about, but also the main line, which is the most important line of the whole railway.
Go faster, Edward! Go faster, Edward!
Be quiet, you troublesome trucks! I'm going as fast as I possibly can.
Edward raced along the main line. He used a snowplow to clear the snow that was blocking the tracks. He stopped at every station, making sure the waiting passengers got their coal before the blizzard approached. While Philip was waiting in a shed, he noticed Edward passing by, dropping off some coal.
How many stops do you make, Edward?
I've only got one more stop to make, which is Knapford, and once that's all done, I'll be puffing straight back to you as promised.
Edward's last stop was Knapford, where he saw the fat controller waiting on the platform with his mother, Dowager Hatt.
Thank goodness you're here, Edward. We need a lot more coal for the waiting passengers at Knapford.
Oh, quite so, Topham. I'm freezing like an icicle.
You can take the rest of my coal, sir.
Thank you, Hector. We're so glad there's an immense truck like you on my railway.
Edward, do you think you can make it back to Wellsworth? I can see that your tender is a quarter full.
Don't worry, Hector. I should have just enough coal to get home before the snowstorm arrives.
I think Hector is right, Edward. Perhaps you do need to refill quickly before you get home.
There's no time for that, Thomas. I promised Philip that I'd go straight back home to him once the delivery was complete.
Good luck with that, Edward. I'm going to go back to Topham for now. See you later.
That evening, the snowstorm had come to the island, and Edward was returning to Wellsworth to join Philip in the sheds. But there was too much snow in his way, and he couldn't see a single thing.
I must get back to Wellsworth and keep Philip warm.
Then there was trouble.
Your tender's completely empty, Edward. Looks like you're stuck here for the night.
Oh no, Philip will be upset if he finds out I haven't returned to the shed.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing more we can do. I guess this means you'll have to stay outside in the blizzard tonight.
Edward knew his driver was right, and so he and the fireman walked to the village nearby so they could go to bed. Later that night, Edward was getting snowed under by the heavy snowfall. His fire had gone out, and his boiler grew cold.
I've never been this cold in a really long time. I hope Philip is okay without me.
At Wellsworth Sheds, Philip was worried about Edward as well. He watched the blizzard from inside the shed.
Oh no! Edward hasn't returned home! I wish I was nice and warm with his firebox keeping me nice and snuggly.
The next morning, the snowstorm had settled, and the engines went back to work as normal. However, Edward remained stuck in the siding until Elizabeth drove by, delivering coal to the villagers.
Oh my, Edward, what are you doing here in this siding?
I need your coal, Elizabeth. I'm frozen solid.
There. I'll see what I can do.
Edward's fire was soon lit up. His boiler was bubbling, and his firebox became as warm as toast again.
I feel much better now. Thanks for the help, Elizabeth.
By the time Edward returned to Wellsworth, Philip was very happy to see him again.
Edward! You're back!
Of course I am, Philip. But apparently I couldn't make it back here last night. I apologize for breaking my promise, though.
That's okay, Edward. At least your firebox is nice and warm again.
And it'll be even warmer once I sleep with you again tonight.
Philip couldn't help but smile. And now he can enjoy the warmth of Edward's firebox once he has a good night's sleep.